presentation of TFNN. The Tom O'Brien Show is produced every business day. Tom takes your phone calls toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Let's go to John in Orlando. John, what's going on, brother?
Good afternoon, Tom. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Yourself?
Good. I want to tell you, I've been listening to you since your radio days back in '99. Appreciate what you guys do. But what I really enjoy that you brought back Tim Ward. This guy is as smart as a whip.
I am so happy for that feedback.
Yeah, because he's one of a kind. He's got to be the number one market timer. I'm telling you, it's like he calls it really, really good.
He does. I really appreciate the feedback, man.
Yes.
Now, Tom O'Brien.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN. Thanks so much for kicking off your afternoon right here. We got about 53 minutes left to go in the closing bell, and it looks like we're setting sail into 2026 already. Now, we got a little bit of trading, but right now, pretty tame markets. You got the VIX sitting just above 14. Metals are where the action is, but we got the S&Ps, NASDAQ, Dow, and Russell all in the red. S&Ps right now negative by 0.1%. Off 6 points at 69.48. You get the NASDAQ 100. You're negative by 0.1 as well. Pushing kind of the session lows right where we were this morning, 25,703. The Dow off by almost 0.2%. You got a little bit of selling on the opening bell, all the way down to 48,580. We're almost 100 points above there. Negative by 83 points on the session, 48,665. And the Russell, negative by 13, trading at 25.22. We jump over to yield, so we'll talk a little bit of Fed. The 10-year right now, let me make sure we're not chopping around. It's going to say 4.13. Yeah, 4.13, the yield on the 10-year. Okay, we get the Fed minutes out. And, yeah, there was a little bit of indecisiveness. They see some more rate cuts coming, pretty much what you expected as the charts show. But right now, we're talking about a 10-year, as I mentioned, 4.13. When you look at the 2-year, okay, that's where you do see a little bit. Well, there's some volatile volume right there. But the 2-year right now at 3.45. 3.45. Whew. So is that 55? Yeah, almost 70 basis points of steepening between the 2-year and the 10-year. Jump over the dollar right now. 98.24 as the dollar catches a little bit of a bid. And as I mentioned, the VIX right now sitting at 14.27. All right, let's talk a little bit of Fed minutes. So what's interesting I found here is, just to show you how differently you can construe this information, right? Watch just the headlines of Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, and CNBC. And you shouldn't even put CNBC in the same ballpark as Bloomberg and the Journal for the news and the journalism that they do. But either way, so Bloomberg puts it as Fed minutes show most officials expect additional rate cuts. That's their headline. The Journal puts it as the Fed minutes suggest caution about further cuts early next year. This is the same information they just read. That's how close it is, okay? Read those two articles. I thought I had to double-check my vision here. Do most officials expect cuts next year? Or do the minutes suggest caution about further cuts early next year is the kicker, okay? That is the difference in the headline. The Journal focuses on early next year, where there's some skepticism, but when you go out later in the year. The Fed minutes show officials were in a tight split over the December rate cut, so I love it, right? It's Bloomberg phrases it, and there it is. Fed minutes show officials expect additional rate cuts. And then the Journal puts it, I'll just even go back to the front page. Fed minutes suggest caution about further cuts early next year. And then the CNBC one says, we don't even know. The Fed minutes show officials were in a split. It's close, folks, okay? But to get into it, yeah, early next year, it may be tough. Some officials made clear they believe rates should remain on hold for some time, is as they put it. A few of those who supported lowering the policy rate at this meeting indicated that the decision was finally balanced, or that they could have supported keeping the target range unchanged. Right? Early next year, we'll see. 9-3 vote was the deal. Okay, of course, you had dissenters on both sides. Most participants noted that the move toward a more neutral policy stance would help forestall the possibility of a major deterioration in labor market conditions. At the same time, right? I just say, it's there's a lot of unknowns here, okay? And I think it's going to be a trader's market coming into 2026 because this is going to be one of the things in play. AI is going to be in play, okay? Earnings, CapEx, but you better believe that the Fed's going to be in play when we get a new Fed chair. And as I mentioned, Powell gets 3 meetings, okay? And then the next Fed chair gets 5 throughout next year. Some participants who favored or could have supported keeping the target range unchanged suggested that the arrival of a considerable amount of labor market and inflation data over the coming intermeeting period would be helpful. Data dependent. Yeah, but as you can see, just even those headlines surmise, you look in those minutes and there's some discrepancies and they're not quite sure. And realistically, we got to make sure that we get over this whole data deal. Okay, because the government shuts down for 2 months. The data is weird, for lack of a better term, right? We have inflation data that comes in at 2.6 to 2.7%. But one of the biggest stories about that inflation data is that they didn't even have the data for owner's equivalent rent, and they just carried forward a 0% inflation since they didn't have a number, right? They didn't have a most recent number. They just carried forward the last number. Well, you can always create a 0%. So the data is going to be important. Hopefully we get that data. Now, we take that opportunity to jump here. So crude, EIA inventories. Now, I used to always my dad and I did the program, the morning market kickoff from 10 to 11 originally. Okay, what was awesome was when we did that program, for you long-term tigers and tigresses out there, we would always look at the EIA inventory that hit at 10:30. It always provided volatility, right? What's the inventory for crude? Is it higher than lower than expected? Well, this morning, no data. The EIA made a surprise announcement Monday morning that the data would be delayed. At first, the agency said no new timeline. Okay. Hours later, they said it's going to be published at 5 p.m. after the market settled. EIA lost more than 100 of its roughly 350-person workforce from Doge. So hopefully they make sure they have enough people in there to do their job. The first scheduled to Monday from the last week regular release to the Wednesday after the executive order that gave employees off. Many people who understood and supported the systems used to create the weekly report, which combines multiple surveys, departed during those reductions. Because the report combines several surveys, it depends on several systems. Without decisive acceleration, we're going to have much bigger problems than delayed data tables. For all the talented and hardworking EIA staff, okay, rebuilding mission-critical products hard-coded in near-dead languages, full steam ahead. So, yeah. But that's going to matter when it comes to the Fed. And hopefully that doesn't play out there as well. Because already, when you look at those CPI numbers, that government shutdown, it's contributing to a lack of integrity of data. And the Fed's going to need that. All right. Stay tuned, folks. We're coming back. We're going to talk to Basil Chapman. Always a good conversation. We're coming back with Basil, folks. Stay tuned.
If you spend any time online researching trading techniques on how to begin your trading journey, you've no doubt come across many folks who push Forex trading as a way to make big money quickly. Unfortunately, there are equally as many stories of these so-called Forex professionals just looking to make a quick buck off aspiring traders without actually teaching the ins and outs of the Forex market. This is what sets Teddy Keckstad's The Tiger Forex Report off the riffraff. Every Monday, former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member and author Teddy Keckstad releases his Tiger Forex Report newsletter, where he dives into the complex world of Forex and takes time to actually teach you his methods that have made him so successful in the fast-paced and rewarding world of Forex trading. Furthermore, all subscribers receive access to archived live streams of Teddy's, where he provides university-level education to help you in Forex trading. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Forex awaits.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter, a must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? TFNN is your gateway to the world of trading and investing. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, TFNN empowers traders and investors of all skill levels with top-notch investing systems, strategies, and techniques. It's time to protect and grow your money with insight you can trust. Join us live Monday through Friday during market hours for exclusive content that moves with the markets. At TFNN, we bring the trading floor to you. Our seasoned hosts are here to answer your calls and questions live on the air. Check out the Tiger's Den for just $1 and follow us on YouTube and become part of our vibrant community. And remember, at TFNN, we're so confident in the value we provide that we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all new premium newsletter subscriptions and services. You have absolutely nothing to risk, so why wait? Tune in live to Tiger TV and transform your trading journey, because when you know better, you invest better. Join us and experience the difference today. TFNN, educating investors.
Welcome back, folks. Yeah, we'll take a look at some of those metals. Nugget up more than 3% today. You talk about volatility, man. From 211 yesterday down to 180. We're back to 190, but we're going to talk some markets. We're going to talk some trades with our man, Basil Chapman. Folks, we talk to Basil every Tuesday at 3:15. You can listen to Basil's outstanding program, the Tiger Technicians Hour, every market day, 10 a.m. till 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You can check out his daily newsletter, The Opening Call. Now, Basil puts out updates every morning, folks, for the opening call. He puts out approximately an hour-long video every weekend for subscribers. So that's almost a webinar in itself. It basically is. And then, though, 2 weeks ago, he just did a webinar, folks. The outlook for 2026, what looks good going into the new year. You can sign up on the front page at TFNN.com for the opening call. You'll get 30 days. All products come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. You have nothing to risk, folks. You'll gain access to that archive webinar Basil did. 90-minute webinar, folks. 2 weeks ago, still very pertinent coming into the end of the year. And, Happy New Year, Basil. One more day. Almost 2026. Good afternoon, Basil Chapman.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, and successful, rewarding year to everyone, and a healthy one.
Oh, well, that's no better way to say it, Basil. Thanks for all you do. Happy New Year to you, your family, and all your friends and family up there for sure. So, Basil, if we could kick it off, because, the webinar that you did 2 weeks ago today, maybe you could just talk about it again, because it's the holidays, man. I feel like people have already checked out from this market, rightfully so. Tomorrow, we still got a full day, but I know we got listeners, viewers that may want to sign up. Of course, they all gain access to the archive. If you could walk the listeners through, Basil, because I was there for the 90 minutes, man. Great webinar, but what'd you cover in that webinar? Because if you could just give them a little glimpse, please.
So there were a couple of facets that I thought were really important to get to as we were ending the year and beginning the new year. The most important was to identify and to demonstrate in what we had in terms of portfolio coverage that there was a huge move in certain areas that went to about October, even November of this year, and then there was a very sharp collapse. And many stocks that some in fact we got down, and part of that was to try to identify that we attempt always to get the ictus, the little turn at the very bottom or the very top of a potential move, because that gives you a lot of leeway when I can call it you can call it velocity ends off that initial thrust to the upside, and then you get a lot of wiggling and shaking before you can get the next move. So that was very important. But most significant was that I identified that there were certain sectors that had fabulous moves. We were in some, we had huge gains in some of them, and then we took a little bits off, and eventually they came down, and we've got just, in some we got completely out, but in others we've held them like a Robin Hood because we got in so low. But the other issue was that there was a transition, and I never really heard anything on in the news media about a transition. And the transition was that those industrials, the deep industrials, like in Alcoa, this is the heart of America, and here it is at a recovery high today at 54.52. We saw.
And Basil, if you could just refresh your camera real quick. It did that thing where it's up there, but if you could just refresh your camera for us in the your chart, please.
Let me do that. Okay, so let me just do this. So I'm going to stop streaming. I'm going to start streaming. I'm going to go there, and
just
that's
that
the
quick.
chart. Okay, I think you've got it right.
We are. I'm sorry. I'm pulling it up. I think you are. Oh.
It should be. I can see it.
Yep.
It should be good.
You're good. Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, Basil. We're looking at Alcoa. Go for it, please.
So look at this. These are the patterns I talk about all the time, the cup formation or the double cup formation like a W. And 57.61 was the high back in January of 2023. And Alcoa comes tumbling down to 23 in October of 2023. Bam, it moves up and it fails and it comes back and it makes a lower at 21.53. So this arch formation, gosh, I wish I had time. I wanted to show you some other things, but let me show you this. So when it turns around, there could be a very sharp move to the upside. And I use this on the right side. That's the monthly chart. These two lines represent what I call the Chapman wave inside track repellent zone, which becomes a propellant zone. And look how it broke out so nicely. So there we are. We're within just a couple of points of an all-time high. But this is, I keep emphasizing, this is Alcoa. I mean, you can't get Alcoa rallying unless there's something going on deep in the economy, and you can see it because, look, there's General Motors. Another one that I identified real long from 71 is trading right now at 82, made a peak D. It's stalling a little bit, but it's only a leg B in the weekly chart and is broken out in the month. This is General Motors. Who talks about General Motors as being positive? Not all of them are doing it. That's the thing. You were speaking about selectivity, and I think you're absolutely correct. This initial period in January going to February is going to be very important to identify what you think is holding well, projecting higher prices, getting all the things that you look for, whether it's volume, whether it's the MACD, the moving average, convergence, divergence, or this beautiful technique that I developed years ago, the 914. Look at this, General Motors, in that big correction back in November when it went from about 73 down to 67, I think it was. Look, that 9-period moving average remained green, and when that green holds and the price goes back above it, it could be a big move, and it's still green. So that's very important. So what I want you to do was to identify sector change. In other words, you've got Alcoa, General Motors, General Electric. You've got a group that the oldies, I mean, this, as I said to you last week, I think we're back to 1987, summer of 87 before the crash. That was just coincidental that it was before the crash.
It sounds like, I know, those symbols, they're all there. Those were the 1987 symbols, right?
These are the ones that have been in the Dow. Not all of them now in the Dow, of course, but they were. So that's one thing. Now, the thing that I spoke about was patterns that we need to be looking at. And within that context, if you look at, so let me just show you this, because this is going to be very important, because with the gold and silver, I'll show you something. Look, so this pattern that I talk about, straight line up, straight line down, cup formation or arch formation, or a mix of 1 and 2 and 1 and 3. This is the dreaded H pattern, where it comes down sharply, it fails, and it takes out the left side low. This is the green. This is the reverse Y, when it takes out the top of the left side high. That's really important. But when it fails, it makes a double top, which is something very important. So let me show you something here. So we're looking now at gold, and we still have our gold position. And the gold is rallying. It's rallied to 45.84. It was a peak E. It was what I call a Chapman wave 2-bar reversal with just a fractional difference between the two highs. Pulls back. But look at the GDX. I think this is the pattern that we've got to look for. You remember the H pattern I just showed you right here? comes down sharply, and then it rallies. And if it fails in a peak A or a B and takes out that left side low, that's going to be very important. So if gold, the GDX, by Tuesday, by next week, anytime next week, if we've taken out 85 on a closing basis, that's that dreaded H. So you've got to be careful of that. It's the same thing for silver. Also, we've got a peak F in the GDX and a leg D, which has gone to possible peak D if there's no new high this week. So that's one of the patterns that I was speaking about. I mentioned that in my in that webinar. I showed some of the patterns that we're looking at. So this is the same thing. Now I'll just add this quickly because, too late. So this is the pattern. I think we've made an internal high, and we are making a residual high right now in the Dow. I think there's upside, limited upside at the moment, and I think we're going to go sideways, and I think we're going to be very choppy for part of January.
Great stuff as always, folks. To get more Basil's great insights, check it out on the front page. You get those webinars, comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Basil, Happy New Year, man, and we'll look forward to the program tomorrow. Have a great one, Basil.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Stay tuned, folks.
Focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
This portion of the Tom O'Brien Show is brought to you by Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the direction. Visit Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
back, folks. We got gold right now. Positive by $22, continuing the volatility right now. You make it all the way up to 44.20. We back down a bit. Unfortunately, Tim Ward, usually on these segments, couldn't make it today. It's holiday season. He said he will be back in 2026. He'll be back on Tuesday. Closed on Thursday with the market, but we got, like many of us. It's a holiday week, man. Jammed in a holiday week. We got a full day of trading tomorrow. One of the lightest days of the year, New Year's Eve. Most people checking out in the middle of the day. But no even half day. You got a half day on Christmas, not on New Year's Eve. Gold up by $22 right now. You jump over to silver right now, 76.30. Jump over to platinum. Let's look at the daily volumes of these metals. It's a nice little bounce going on today. You know, it doesn't come close to the volume that we got yesterday, but it does come close to Friday's acceleration. Okay, platinum right now up by $80, but you are bouncing on lighter volume. 41,000 contracts for platinum. We jump over to gold right now. 307,000 contracts to the downside yesterday. We're basically coming into this bar, right? December 12th. Today we're bouncing on 177. You jump over to silver right now. Quite a historic day on silver yesterday. Closed at 71.64. We're trading at 76.47. You got some decent volume, especially for a holiday week. No. But yesterday's going to stick out, man. You know, very difficult to imagine gold and silver plowing above these highs when you sold off with so much volume, right? To find a meaningful bid when a breakout with volume, a sign of strength above this area, that would take a lot to do. It doesn't mean it can't happen, but this is going to be a bit of a wall right now at $80 with silver. We're at 76.45 right now. Jump over to gold. Maybe around 4,500 and change, right? Somewhere where we were. You got up to this high of 45.30 on December 23rd. You did that with 241,000 contracts. You rip lower on 307. You look at the weekly. You engulfed the whole week yesterday. The whole week yesterday in gold, let alone silver. Now, silver had quite the acceleration on Friday last week. Not quite the same engulfing pattern, right? Silver still looks a lot stronger than gold. All right, we jump around to AI. Take a look at NVIDIA shares today, down about 0.3%. Been a heck of a year for NVIDIA. You reach a low at $88, and we're finishing the year at $188. I'm ballparking. Got as low as $86.62. Yeah, and we're $101 above that price level. What are you talking about market cap-wise? $4.56 trillion. Almost said million, actually. Jump over to Microsoft shares, up by 0.2%. So some of the funding is coming through so far. SoftBank has fully funded their $40 billion investment in OpenAI. And that was at a $260 billion pre-money valuation. Seems like they got a bargain, all right? They had previously invested $8 billion and syndicated another $10 billion with co-investors. SoftBank's stake in the company, 10%. Yeah, Masayoshi-san, he goes in, right? The easiest way to build a lot of wealth with huge returns is highly concentrated positions, folks. You diversify, it's very difficult to beat the market on grand scale. But if you concentrate your investments, and yeah, owning 10% of OpenAI, that is quite a concentration. So in February, CNBC reported that the company was finalizing the investment, and at the time, they reported that the funding would be paid out in 12 to 24 months. But guess what? They probably needed more money than they thought. Imagine, right? And this is where, he's the king of it, man. WeWork, right? Once he gets in, he's going to make sure that the next round is worth more. Okay, so if they ever need money, he's not going to allow that company to go into a cash crunch, because then what would happen? The value would drop, he would suffer. You know how you solve that? You give it more money. Give it more money at a higher valuation. And yeah, they liquidated their entire $5.8 billion stake in NVIDIA. Maybe just not enough growth potential when you're pushing $5 trillion already. Whew. But hey, quite a number, man. $40 billion. They announced that deal in February. Whew. All right, we talked some housing this morning. This one from CNBC talking about down payments. Now, what's difficult in this, even the headline, down payments are difficult for many buyers, especially first-time buyers, right? The average 30-year fixed mortgage, about 6.2%. The typical home buyer now needs 7 years to save a down payment. 7 years. Well, maybe rates will be down in 7 years. A buyer putting down 20% on a $410,000 home, so they're putting up $82,000. The monthly payment today is $200 less on average than it would have been a year ago. It's like tiddlywinks, right? $100 or $200 less when you're talking about putting $82,000 up and buying a $410,000 house with taxes and insurance. Listen, every dollar matters. A dollar saved is a dollar made. All that stuff matters, okay? The top line, the bottom line. But the difficult part about home ownership, folks, is that, yeah, if you are skirting the line where like $100 is literally make or break, all it takes is one thing breaking in a house, and they break all the time if they're not brand new. That's just a normal, whether you're talking about leaks, AC problems, you got a plumbing leak, right? We have air conditioning problems in Florida all the time because it's like 115 degrees for 6 months out of the year. I love it. I don't complain. We got it made in here. Right now, folks, we got it made. It's like 73 degrees out and sunny, I think. We're going to end the program at 4 o'clock, and I'm going to go to the park with Tommy. And we're going to wear shorts and a T-shirt. Actually, it was 48 degrees today. I shouldn't say that. It was 48 degrees this morning. We're getting a little bit of a cool spell. But I'm spoiled because it's been like 78 degrees. We were at the park yesterday afternoon. Let's see. Let's see what the weather is right now in Tampa. Because we're coming into cold. It is. It's 57. That's all right. We'll finish this conversation up. Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit more about these housing numbers because that's a tough one when you're talking about only $100, $200. 6.2% is still a big number, man. You know, we need a mortgage handle with a 5. You know, the mentality of a 5.85% mortgage. Stay tuned, folks. S&P is negative by 4. We'll come right back.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors. For traders who crave risk, Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs provide opportunities to magnify short-term perspectives with up to 3 times a daily leverage, utilize bull and bear funds for both sides of the trade, and trade through rapidly changing markets. These are highly leveraged ETFs with daily resetting designed for short-term trading, not long-term investing. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the Direxion. For up-to-date pricing and performance, go to Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter. a must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has launched The Tiger's Den, hosted at Discord. TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Tom O'Brien.
Welcome back, folks. We have the S&Ps negative by 2 right now. NASDAQ off by 25. We jump back to the metals right now. You got gold trading up $21. And how about that for a weekly? All right, gold engulfs it all on a weekly basis, on a daily basis. You're coming up to the volume we had. It's a decent day of volume for a holiday. For December 30th, we still got some action, but that's to be expected when you get this type of volume and volatility. Whew. You talk about a big move, man. Now, jumping back to this article talking about 20% down payment. They talk about that the typical home buyer needs 7 years to save a down payment. That's down from a recent peak of 12 years in 2022 when things were going bonkers, right? Double the pre-pandemic levels, though. Double the pre-pandemic levels. Okay, now there's a lot of time. There's a lot of things you can do to avoid a 20% down, folks, okay, depending on your credit. But you know, whether you're going with a variety of different loans, okay, putting down 3.5%, 5%, you're going to end up paying PMI, right? Mortgage insurance, which many times you need to refinance to get off, but it's a difficult one, to put it lightly. And, you know, I was talking about this morning, folks. We archive the programs that we do, all of them, okay? I talked a lot about this act, Live Local, in Florida, okay? And yeah, we need more affordable housing, period. We talked about LA has rent limits now. But what they're doing with Live Local, okay, and I was even cherry picking some more articles. Let's see what I think I had them up there. I got too many good screens. We got too much fun stuff going on right now. Let me see if I can find it. And I will. I'll give you a little bit of a real estate update because Tiger Real Estate is still alive and well, folks. And, you know, I have a couple lots right now for sale. So check this one out, okay? Live Local. Now, this is Boynton Beach. This is all over Florida. This is a Live Local Florida statewide act that was passed in 2023. But you're going to start seeing more of these types of stories. This one was out in May. And this is an 80-foot, 8-story building. Now, keep in mind that this Live Local Act allows you to build as high as any building, I believe, within a mile, okay? And those buildings need to be mixed use. They can be in a warehouse district, okay? And they have to provide 40% of the units at 120% area median income. Now, for a 2-person unit, that can approach an income level of $100,000, okay? But this building is a 400-unit apartment complex with 2,600 square feet of commercial space, okay? 38 townhomes along the same street, and it just dwarfs anything else that's going on, right? And it talks about Live Local, enacted in March 23, okay? Now, there's a couple. I'm going to show you how quickly this goes, and we'll segue it. Why not? Give you a quick update, Dan. You got to love it, man. And, you know, what I find, folks, in this market right now, okay, number one, you know, the strongest buyers are in a great shape. Some of the best areas out there, okay, but people can't afford right now to buy a home at top dollar and then have to do anything with it, right? So I encourage you to button up your home if you're looking to buy it, sell it, excuse me, right? Whether it's a new coat of paint, whether it's making sure that small things are repaired, right? No problems with your 4-point, of course. A roof's a big one, okay? You got a roof on the edge of getting a problem with insurance, which is a huge problem in Florida. I'd encourage you and just get a lot of quotes, folks, okay? You'd be surprised how often the quotes can vary magnificently. And if you get a lot of quotes, okay, no matter what kind of work you're doing on your house, you get the quote and you make sure that they open a permit. It's the best way to protect yourself. If you're working with any different vendor, okay, or contractor, you get a quote, and a lot of times the contractor will say to you, you know, I can do the work, all right, and if you want, I don't have to open a permit, right? I can save us both money. And if you understand things top to notch, then maybe that's something that you can do, okay? But in many instances, it makes sense to protect yourself, especially if you're dealing with a third party and you're unaware of how that job goes or how you run it or just basic repairs or whatever it is, right? Whether it's a roof, an AC, plumbing, electrical, all that stuff, any type of renovation, get a permit open, and then the city has to inspect it, and you're pretty covered. You got a warranty, you get a city inspection, there's a permit, and you're covered. Get a lot of quotes. I can't encourage you how often. I mean, I'm talking about one house, folks, okay, to put a new roof on. I had quotes from 14 grand to 21 grand. 14 grand to 21 grand. Which one do you end up think I went with? The 14 grand one. It was beautiful. It went well. Inspector had to come back a couple times for very mundane things. It was a permitted project, a licensed and insured roofer, and it went well. Yeah, and so, yeah, go after it. So here's what, so check this out, right? Live local, okay? So, you know, this is in certain areas, okay, and I'm going to cherry pick a bit here, right? But this area is a great area of St. Petersburg. Now, to go big picture here, okay, this is St. Petersburg. Here's the Vinoy, if you're all familiar. You're going east to Tampa, okay? Here's South Tampa and MacDill across the way. So here's St. Petersburg, and we're about 23 streets away from the water, which is where beautiful Beach Drive, all the happenings out there. The Dali Museum down here, the pier. Okay, there's your pier. Now you go into this area, and there's a couple great areas of St. Petersburg, okay? And what's amazing here, though, is that, boy, some of these homes that are getting built and sold, folks, and let me just see if I can show you a couple beautiful ones, because this area, I mean, I'm talking about my dad went into this area, folks, and lots were pushing $10,000 or $15,000. And I'm not talking about that long ago. Okay, yeah, I'm talking about 5-10 years ago. But now you got homes selling at $1.3 million for a 2,400 square foot. And this is a beautiful home, okay? I'm not sure if all the pictures are going to pop up here, all right? But on the higher end side, there are some beautiful areas that are faring tremendously. And there's a bunch of $1.2 million houses that have sold around this area. Here's a 1.15, okay? Yeah, this is one that my dad actually built back in the day. I'm just cherry picking houses here, okay? One of the Tiger Bungalows, 2640 3rd Ave South. Just sold in March for $1.15 million. Okay, and this one has a bungalow in the back, I believe. Let's see if it. An ADU in the back. Yeah, separate studio apartment above the garage. So you're getting a single-family home, about 2,000 square feet. You're getting a garage in there, and you're getting an ADU as well, but 1.15. Okay, beautiful area, but you can see the appreciation. But guess what? The houses have to be almost perfect if you're in that level, as they should. 1.2 million, my goodness, right? So then you go to this, though. So here's the lots. Here's how you jump this, okay? Now, this is lots for sale around St. Pete right now, okay? Now, the area I was just showing you was, let's see what house we're looking at in particular. Where are we? We're on 3rd Ave and 27th, okay? So 3rd Ave and 27th. We're right about here on the chart, okay? And like I was talking about this morning, so here's Central. Now remember, Central is running east to west. And I'm going to finish this up after we get back, folks. Okay? Central's running east to west. But check it out. This is what's going to be wild. Now, I'm biased, okay? This is my lot. And I have many of them. So this is just one that I'm moving out right now. But this is one of the lots where it's mixed use. And technically, you can use Live Local Florida. It doesn't exactly make sense for one single lot. But we'll talk about it when we get back, folks.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
In the world of trading, only a few names stand out like Larry Pesavento, a pro's pro with over 50 years of experience. Larry has seen it all. A former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member, Larry has authored 10 books and trained over 1,000 traders with his unmatched expertise. Introducing Fibonacci 24/7, Larry Pesavento's daily trading service that turns the complexity of markets into opportunities. Published every Sunday, receive a comprehensive report packed with detailed commentary, charts, and videos that illuminate the patterns shaping the markets, with updates throughout the week exclusively for subscribers. Whether through charts or videos, Larry's analysis is your roadmap to navigating the markets. You can sign up now at TFNN.com for just $97. And with all TFNN newsletters backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to risk. For all the details, visit TFNN.com. You'll find Fibonacci 24/7 right under the newsletters tab.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter. A must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN. Educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. We got gold dipping lower right now, coming back to the session lows. And boy, we're talking about more than $60 off those highs of 8 a.m. We're down right now. And yeah, we're at 43.57. Gold up by $14 right now. Silver, how we doing? A little bit of a pullback, but silver, quite a pop from yesterday. Silver still the strongest out there. You jump over to platinum, up by $77. Copper today up by 3.3%. So jumping back to these properties for a second, okay? Now, these are lots that I have for sale, folks. I know I'm biased, all right? It's a little bit of a pitch, but Todd, this is why, this market, and I have many more lots than these, okay? This one in particular, okay, is First Ave South. Now, the houses I just brought up are down here, closed at 1.2, 1.3, right? There's a home for sale right now that's pending at $1.55 million, right in this block here of Palmetto Park, okay? It's Palmetto Park in St. Petersburg. The neighborhood, that's what it's called. Sometimes the neighborhood pops up here. Where is it? Okay, it doesn't, but this is Palmetto Park. And what's wild here is that, so on this use, which is mixed use, number one, you can build 3 units on this, okay? Townhomes are probably the best use on this piece of land. And you can see that it abuts 2 corner units. Now, I own these 2 corner units too, and I have different plans with those, okay? And I'm still building single family houses as well. But just to give you the space of it, this market's on fire. And I imagine that this corridor, okay, here's Central, all right? And I have this lot here. This is my lot as well on Central. All right, now this one's right on Central. This one, because it's on Central, is zoned for up to 7 or 8 dwelling units. Yeah, 7 dwelling units by right, or 10 using the city's workforce housing density bonus. But that's where those density bonuses are very critical sometimes, man. You got to put up units that rent at 60% of AMI, but live local, you can almost build as high as you want. And I expect those are going to move out. I mean, this area right here on that Palmetto Park, look it up, Palmetto Park, St. Petersburg, Florida, folks. All right. And yeah, in terms of that house with the roof, get some quotes. That's the house with the roof we're talking about, 2230 Trelane. It's like 13.7 or something like that, down from those.